G'day everyone, Ethan from Baggers Chat here to review our 58-point preseason win against the Giants in Canberra. Carlton 18-16, 124 to the Giants 9-12, 66. As you can probably see and hear if you're listening via the podcast platforms, there's no Paddo here today. He's currently dealing with a bit of a voice issue. He's lost his voice. He's been a little bit crook, so he'll be raring and ready to go for round one, which is not too far away. I think it's about 12 days away, and our preview will probably be just before that. So he'll be back and ready to go for round one. So what can you say? I think it was a pretty pleasing performance, as pleasing as a preseason match can get. You can't look too much into it, but there was definitely plenty of positives to take out of that game. It was a strong start. I thought we dominated the clearance. I think it was led by, obviously, the man who's been, the talk of the town in terms of contracts and will he re-sign, will he not? And TDK was really, really good from the start. Obviously, he was playing against Lockie Keefe. There was no Kieran Briggs. Yeah, it was led by TDK. I think from the start, I think we were 9 clearances to nothing to start the game, which is a really positive sign. And even though it's a preseason game, I want to see the intent there. As a team, we really should be winning the clearances more often than not throughout the season, as we have such a strong midfield full of guys who are quality players. And yeah, that was really, really good to see. Another real promising thing was our forward setup. We didn't have Charlie, obviously, with his recent knee surgery and probably going to miss round one. So it was really, really good to see how we kind of structured up without him. And also, we only had Harry Mackay for the first quarter, so it was even bigger test to see how our forward line kind of structured up. It looked like we chucked Lewis Young into that forward line. He was in that ruck rotation with TDK for most of the game, but yeah, he did go up forward when Harry was out. One man who I was really pleased with up forward was Brody Kemp. And, he had a really, really strong performance. I think he ended up with 3 goals, took 7 marks, had 13 touches, but he presented at the ball really well. And I think he's almost put his hand up for round one selection with that performance. And I'm going to say that with a few players in this video, but with Charlie out, I think we just have to have Kemp in as another marking target. And he provided that. He was taking some big grabs and just presenting the ball. That's all we need. And I like sometimes when he's presenting higher up the ground, especially if we don't have Charlie for round one, we can kind of keep Harry deeper inside 50 and have Kemp presenting higher up the ground. And he has that ability to take grabs. We know that when he plays in defence, he's always willing to take a big grab and go at the ball. And if he's not taking the grab, he's putting it to ground for our smalls, who were very impressive, I thought, in our win over the Giants. And one in particular is Orazio Fantasia. He looked incredibly solid up forward. And once again, he's looking like a lock for round one with Corey Durden going down with his syndesmosis injury. Orazio looked free. He was moving around. He was playing well. He hit the scoreboard, took a massive grab in the goal square. I think it might have been in the second or third quarter. So, yeah, promising signs for him. And following that preseason game, there's been a lot of talk around his performance. And I know it's a preseason game, but he looks very, very solid. He's obviously had some injury troubles over his journey. So hopefully he, gets going and stays on the park and has a bit of continuity about him. And he's got the skill set. He's definitely got the skill set. And Michael Voss rates him very highly. He played him last year, maybe in some games some weeks where he probably should have been selected. So they clearly back him in, and I definitely back him in to start the season up forward in our, forward group. Next, Nick Haynes. He played against his old side, who weren't really giving him a fair go last year in defence, and that's fair enough. They got 2 key pillars in there with Sam Taylor and Jack Buckley, who are a very strong duo down there for the Giants, and are going to play a big part in their season and their pursuit for the premiership, their maiden premiership. But Nick Haynes, very, very good. He ended up with 21 touches. He had 17 kicks. I think he took 10 marks. He was influential on the game, I thought, and it just looks settled in that back six. And you look at that back six, and people might think it's a little bit tall. when you look at Wiedering, Haynes, McGovern, and Silvani. But I think the positive thing about those four players, particularly Haynes, McGovern, and Silvani, is they're very agile. They're not just key lockdown defenders. They're intercept defenders that can play a little bit smaller at times and sometimes a little bit taller. And that can be massive when we play, whether it's a team like Sydney with more for like a lot of tall forwards, the Dogs, if they, or, once all their key forwards are playing, but teams that have multiple threats from their first forward to their fourth or fifth forward. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how the defense is looking. Lockie Cowan was solid. Sardi obviously kicked a massive goal on the run. Took a bounce, took a cheeky bounce, and the loud woof that we heard from the Canberra crowd was fantastic. So if you're from Canberra and you're listening to our podcast right now, a big kudos to you guys. That was a fantastic crowd, and they're up and out. With Carlton, don't play in Canberra often because we bring big crowds in, so we usually play at the graveyard that is Giant Stadium. But it was a really, really good crowd, and it was just a good sight to see. Carlton play in a different state, so that was fantastic. And now we get to this player, and Lucas Camporelli. He's one that I think has caught most, if not all of us, by surprise, and it's the immediate rise of him. He had a fantastic showing yesterday against the Giants. He ended up with 20 touches, 8 marks, 500 meters gained, and I don't think he is that stats based player. I think he's an impact player. He doesn't need to have 25, 30 touches like a Jackson Binns who had 25 in the match simulation against St Kilda, but he struggled. He definitely did struggle. He had 25 touches, but he just struggled. And Camporelli, his stats might not show it big time, but he was phenomenal yesterday. I thought he was fantastic, and I'd like to know if you guys think he will be playing round one. I think he's definitely put his best foot forward for a round one debut, and I think he's a massive chance to face the Tigers. And what a story that would be. Obviously, there's players to come in. You've got Walsh to come in, and you've got multiple, players moving around, players coming in. Is Charlie playing? Is Walsh playing? Is Doherty playing? That's another talking point. But gee, that would be a massive story. And I think he's with Hollands going in defence. I think that wing spot opens up for a Camporeale. Clearly, he's above in the pecking order compared to Binns, who I feel like's kind of been that second, third tier winger for the last couple of years and not really had a go. But clearly they rate him higher, and he could not have had a better performance in that practice game. I know it's a preseason game, but he looked comfortable for a guy his age, and it'll be really, really pleasing to see if he plays round one. And once again, what a story that would be, a father-son donning the navy blue in round one. And onto the selection for round one. It is not going to be easy at all. From now till round one, we're all going to have our say on who should be in the 22, who should be out. It's going to be all sorts of different reasons who we want to face the Tigers, and it's a fantastic problem to have. We've had many years where it was automatic selection for certain guys, but now, you look at guys like Sam Doherty. Has he been building up, and is he going to have his best come round one, or is it, he's definitely not a lock in my opinion. For this round one, I think he's a fantastic player, of course, and he provides so much experience and leadership in our side that stats don't show. But we can't be guaranteeing guys games, and if they're not at their best, guys like Lucas Camporeale, who's in good preseason form, or other players, whether it's Jordan Boyd's or other guys who are coming through, Ashton Moyers, you got to be on your game. You can't be having multiple weeks off and expecting a game. So it's a fantastic problem to have, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what our mix is looking like come Thursday in a couple of weeks, 13th of March. I keep thinking it's next week. I keep thinking round one is next week. Obviously, I get mixed up with opening round. We're not playing, so I don't mind the break. But yeah, selection's going to be huge. In the comments below, let me know and let us know who you think will be playing, any surprise packages that have come round one, whether Ashton Moyer plays on that half forward flank, whether Elijah Hollands might miss out on round one selection. He hasn't been. I think for the Saints match simulation, he only played the last quarter and then played the rest of the reserves. And yesterday, he didn't play the first quarter. So clearly, there's work to be done for Elijah to be playing round one. I just don't know if he will play round one at all. But once again, he's a quality player, and I would be happy for him to be in the side. But as a whole, the preseason's been solid. I don't think the Giants were 100% at 100% or going at 100% yesterday. I liked that we started well. Clearly, Adam Kingsley must have said something at quarter time to get the Giants kind of back in there, system and the way they play, because they started off really well. But I think the positive is we didn't let them get fully back into the game. They didn't. We've had bad experiences with that, especially last year. As soon as last year, with that Giants game where we're up, what was it, 40 points, 6, 7, 8 goals, and in the second quarter they clearly got a rev up at quarter time and put the foot down and put the pressure on us, ended up winning the game and running away with it. So I think that's a massive improvement area in our game, not letting teams back in the game when we're at full control or we're up, 5, 6 goals. Continue to put the foot down, but also if it's not on your terms, just slowing the game down and just eradicating their momentum in the game. I think obviously momentum swings are massive in AFL right now, and they're going to be massive in the first 6 weeks with teams fully fresh, ready to go. That's the fastest time of the year. The first 6 rounds as the ball's zipping around, and it's high pressure. Teams are up and about early, whether they're a bottom team, whether they're a premiership contender. So it's going to be interesting to see. But other than that, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Obviously, we've had some injuries, whether it's Corey Durden. Obviously, he's going to miss the first few rounds. Mark Pitternet is likely to miss the first few rounds. Nick Newman likely to miss most of the year, but it's sounding promising that he might come back in the later stage of the home and away. And obviously, the we haven't had an episode since the Jagger Smith injury, which has been a massive, massive disappointment. But with the guys available, I'm backing us in to have a strong start to the season. We've got some blockbusters early. Obviously, we've got Richmond round one, who are going to be a struggling side, but we got to just got to start well. Got to play our way. We're not going to worry about the opposition, whether it's Richmond round one, Hawthorn round two, which is going to be a massive contest. The Dogs, who injury riddled at the moment, we play in round three, and obviously the arch nemesis in round four. So it's going to be a massive start of the season. We've got some blockbusters, some Thursday night, Friday night games, and I'm just looking forward to getting on here, speaking on the previews and reviews with Pato and hearing all your thoughts, whether it's through YouTube, comments on our social media comments. It's going to be a busy, busy few weeks, getting ready for the launch of the Carlton season and hopefully a very successful season for the Navy Blues. But hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It's our last preseason video until we get into the real stuff. Pato will be back. It won't just be me sitting here boring you in front of the camera. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook. We are very, very, we're just posting stuff all day, every day. Make sure you're listening to us on our platforms. We've got Spotify, Apple Music. The list goes on. We love to have a laugh about that, but we're on all sorts of platforms. So make sure to keep, listen to us on your way to work, listen on the way home. We love to hear feedback as well. So shoot us a message on our social media pages. And that pretty much wraps it up. So if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button once again and up the baggers.